Hello and welcome everyone to class for today. My name is Charlotte Scheid and I'm one of the Giant Company dietitians. Appreciate everybody joining me here for a produce spotlight class where we're going to be focusing on green beans. So I definitely think with the holiday season coming up, green beans are the perfect side dish. There's so many different types of recipes for them, and obviously have great nutritional benefits. So we're going to be discussing all about green beans for today. So our agenda, first, we're going to be doing a true or false game just to kind of test your knowledge about green beans, providing some history on green beans, some nutrition facts, how to select, store, and prepare green beans, how to use them, and a couple different flavor pairings for green beans, reviewing some Savory Magazine recipe inspirations, which there's so many on Savory. If you haven't been on Savory Magazine website, definitely check it out for a lot of different recipes. And then for cooking demo, especially with soup season, stew season, the cold weather, we're going to be making a bean and veggie minestrone. So one way to use green beans is definitely in soups. So we're going to be doing or making that today, which it's super easy recipe and definitely affordable as well. All right, so this is our first true or false. So let me go ahead and pull up this um, poll. Okay, so this is first true or false. So green beans are also called snap beans or string beans. So true or false? All right. So I'll go ahead and end the poll and let's see what you all said. So it looks like a lot of you said this is true. So let's see what the answer is. So this one is true. So I definitely didn't fool anybody. But yes, green beans are also called snap beans or string beans, especially if you're looking for some information on the internet. Sometimes you get more results when you type in snap beans. If you're want to research green beans, sometimes snap beans, it comes up a lot more information. All right, so let's do the next ones. So green beans are native to Central and South America. Let's pull this one up. All right, so go ahead and answer that question. So again, green beans are native to Central and South America. All right, so go ahead and end the poll, share the results. So it looks like it's about half and half. So let's see what the answer is. So again, native to Central and South America. So this one is true, especially in the southern Mexico region, Honduras, some of those different countries. So they are native to that area. All right, and our last one. Let's pull up this poll one last time. So green beans are a good source of vitamin K. All right, so go ahead and answer that question. So a good source of vitamin K, which we know that vitamin K is really important for our bone health. All right, so go ahead and end the poll. So it looks like a lot of you said true. So let's see what the answer is. So I probably didn't pull anyone on this one. So it definitely is a good source of vitamin K amongst many other different types of nutritional benefits. So thanks everybody for answering those true or false questions about green beans. All right, moving right along, some history and facts about green beans. So we talked a little bit about where they originated from. So they originated in southern Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, and kind of the Costa Rica areas. But U.S. farmers began breeding the bean around 1890, and this is because they just became, I guess people wanted them more and became more popular. So they began breeding them here around 1890. But the peak season is between May and October. You usually see these at farmers markets. But of course, in store, you can always get them canned or frozen. So you can have them all year round, which is, of course, nice. So green beans or snap beans are categorized into two groups depending on how they grow. So we have bush or pole beans. So the bush beans, they tend to grow a lot of green beans at once. And then the vine or pole beans, these grow on vines, but they definitely need support to grow. So they usually categorize into two groups depending on how they grow. Most of the green beans, snap beans are green, but I don't know if anybody has seen the different varieties. So there's sometimes are purple, yellow, and spotted varieties. I know I've definitely seen the purple and yellow before, but I don't know if I've seen the spotted varieties, but anyways, there's a lot of different colors than green that you can get green beans in. So these are just some green bean nutrition facts. So for about a cup of green beans, definitely low in calorie, just like with a lot of different produce items. So 1 cup is around 31 calories. So for essential nutrients, the spotlight is a great source of fiber. So there's almost 3 grams per cup. So we know that fiber helps to support our heart and digestive health, really helps to support especially that gut health, gut microbiome. It's a good source of vitamin C. So especially with this time of year with all the germ season, it's really beneficial for the immune system. So 1 cup gives us about 25% of our daily value that we need in a day. Also vitamin A. So vitamin A is also important for immune health, even reproduction and healthy vision. So 1 cup gives about 15% of the daily value. Also a good source of manganese. So manganese helps to convert our macronutrients, like which are carbs, protein, and fats, into energy. Also assists with bone development and also helps to promote wound healing. So a lot of great nutrition facts with green beans, but especially with fiber, which as Americans we don't tend to get enough of. Fiber is always a great one, or not fiber, green beans with the fiber is always a good thing to include in the diet. So these are just some tips on how to select, store, and prepare green beans. So if we are in store, whether we're looking at, of course, in the can, you obviously can't look at them, but if we're looking at them in a package, we want to choose pods that are, of course, smooth. We don't want them to be wilted or look dried out. Usually means that they're past their, or they're more mature. So we want them to be firm and crisp so they snap when bent. We want them to be a bright color, no discoloration, no brown spots. We want them to have a nice color to them. We want to choose smaller beans on the inside. Usually if you see them, larger green beans, usually indicates that they're more mature pods. So they might be a little bit tougher, or if they have smaller beans on the inside, they tend to be a little bit softer. So when we're bringing the green beans home from the store, if you are storing them, we don't want to cut or snap them before storing. We want to keep them kind of, how they are. So if we're storing them in the refrigerator, we want to place them unwashed. You can place them in a paper towel, in an open plastic bag, to keep that air circulating. But you can usually store fresh green beans for a week in the refrigerator, sometimes a little bit longer. If you want to freeze green beans, especially during the peak seasons, you want to freeze them, usually stores for about 10 to 12 months. And of course, you can also can them. I can't say that I have ever done that. I know that my mom has, but canning definitely has green beans lasting for a lot longer. So before you prepare green beans, you obviously, of course, with any produce item, want to wash them. And you can leave them whole, or you can break them into pieces, like 1-inch pieces, or you can even cut them lengthwise, which is known as a French cut. So when we're thinking about how to select them, store them, and prepping them, we want to, just kind of think about these tips for green beans. All right, so how to use green beans. So how to use green beans. So of course, I think green beans are a really nice side dish for the holidays. We can always add them as a side dish for the holidays. But you can always add them to a stir fry with a lot of different types of ingredients, help to give it a nice crunch. Of course, can add it to soups or stews, which we'll be using that in our bean and veggie minestrone today. You can use them in salads, help to give a nice crunch to them. So you can do just like a green salad with spinach or romaine lettuce. You can put it in a pasta salad, or even a grain salad with quinoa, brown rice, whatever that you would like. It also makes for a nice addition if you have any type of casserole that you like a chicken casserole. Just helps to even, just add a veggie in there for some extra nutrition and even flavor and crunch. You can use it in a fried rice, of course, as a side dish. For the holidays, we'll be going over some recipes that I think are super delicious for as a holiday side. And then for green beans, you can steam them, roast them, saute them, air fry. So a lot of different options for green beans, but when we're thinking about them, definitely a lot of ways to use them, not just as a side dish, but in a lot of other ways. So these are some green beans pairings that I wanted to mention. So if we want to, of course, make the green beans a little bit more flavorful, I will say I always like to put a little bit of lemon zest or lemon juice. Helps to kind of, I don't know, just make it taste really good, even like balsamic vinegar. But for produce items, things like potatoes, red pepper, onion, garlics, carrots are good ones. If we're thinking about herbs and spices, so of course lemon, basil, dill, mint, parsley, even chili pepper, and then a variety of different protein options, especially as a side dish. There's a lot of different types of recipes that include nuts. So things like almonds and pecans, which are pretty popular this time of year. So I think any type of nuts or even seeds goes well with green beans to help give that nice crunch. So I mentioned about balsamic vinegar, of course, butter or olive oil, especially if you're pairing butter or olive oil with like some garlic and you're sauteing green beans helps to bring out the flavor. Parmesan, we're going to be using our Taste of Inspirations Parmesan cheese as a topper for our soup. Of course, soy sauce and it's in a stir fry, and then teriyaki sauce is a good one too. So as you can see, a lot of different flavor combinations for green beans. So don't feel like you're stuck in a rut with green beans. Definitely a lot of ways to make it flavorful. So these are some green bean products at Giant or at Martin's. So of course they are in canned varieties. There are no salt added varieties. So if you are, more concerned about sodium, I would definitely look for more of like reduced or like low sodium or no salt added. So we have a bunch of different varieties with that. So we have cut green beans. There's the French cut green beans. We have them fresh in the package, also frozen, which we'll be using the frozen green beans in today's recipe. So a lot of different varieties with green beans. So fresh, canned, or frozen. So I just wanted to mention this because this is in the weekly ad for this upcoming week. So there are a variety of different green bean items that are on in the weekly ad. So we have our cans. So our brand vegetables is currently in the ad. So the cut green beans, the can, and then our brand green beans in the fresh are also in the weekly ad. So if you haven't checked out the weekly ad, definitely do so. Different types of green beans in there this week. So with upcoming holiday, just a nice that it is in there for a variety of different recipes. So just wanted to mention that for the weekly ad for this week. So these are some green bean recipes. So this is our most recent edition of Savory. It's our holiday edition. So these recipes I don't believe are in this edition, but so these green bean recipes are on the Savory Magazine website, so you can look them up that way. But just wanted to show you the most recent edition of Savory because I think that's a really pretty cover. Okay. So the first one, so we mentioned about balsamic being a nice flavor pairing for green beans. So this is a green beans with basil, balsamic, and almonds. It does get 2 guiding stars. So guiding star program is on recipes or product in store. So the more stars that something gets, the more nutritionally beneficial it is. And this recipe gets almost 5 grams of protein and then 4 grams of fiber. So it makes a really nice side dish, and you can see here pretty colorful as well. So we're going to mix together some butter and shallots, some vegetable broth. That balsamic vinegar with our green beans, red bell pepper helps it to give that kind of, or a nice more color. We're gonna do some grated Parmesan cheese, some almonds, which is a nice pairing for green beans, and then basil as well. So a lot of great flavor with this one, but I always think it's really makes for a nice holiday side dish and does get 2 guiding stars. So the next one, it kind of goes with pasta. So this is a pesto pasta with green beans and potatoes. It gets 2 guiding stars, has 5 grams of fiber, 10 grams of protein. So you're gonna have the steam ready red potatoes, some thin spaghetti, some green beans, prepared pesto, and then grated Parmesan to serve. So not a lot, too many ingredients to make your spaghetti, and then mix it with the pesto, and then potato, grated Parmesan, and those green beans. Also kind of that green color makes me think of the holidays too. But again, this one gets 2 guiding stars. So another way to incorporate green beans with the pasta. And next, if anybody has joined me in class before, you know I all love a sheet pan recipe. So this is a baked lemon pepper chicken with veggies, gets 2 guiding stars, almost 20 grams of protein, 5 grams of fiber. So this has some chicken thighs. So on a sheet pan, you can do parchment paper, put on your chicken thighs, put some lemon pepper seasoning on it, some garlic powder, chop up your sweet potatoes, and of course, you're going to mix that with the olive oil. So the olive oil will go on the green beans and sweet potatoes. And then you can put lemon pepper seasoning on the chicken, but you can also put on the sweet potatoes and green beans. But just another way to think about green beans, and this makes for a super quick, busy weeknight meal. But green beans are always really good on a sheet pan meal. And of course, with a sheet pan meal, very easy cleanup. So it looks super yummy. So that's the baked lemon pepper chicken with veggies. And again, gets 2 guiding stars. So just another way to use green beans. All right, so this is our bean and veggie minestrone. It's definitely feeling colder out. I have my turtleneck on, so I'm always thinking about soup recipes and just kind of warm, cozy recipes. So this is a bean and veggie minestrone. I always like just minestrone in general, but this is a super easy recipe to make. So for the bean and veggie minestrone, gets 2 guiding stars, has 16 grams of protein, 11 grams of fiber, so will definitely help to you to feel fuller longer. So before class, what I did, so I already boiled my dietitian pasta. I don't know if anybody has used that before, but it's almost like a kind of like a cylinder sort of shape, but this is the dietitian pasta. So before class, I took a quart. I have my reduced sodium chicken broth right here, and I put it in my pot with the 3 cups of water, and I boiled the ditalini pasta for about like 7 minutes or so. The recipe says 6 to 8 minutes, but I did that before class, so you can see that's in my pot right here. So what we're going to add is a cup of fresh diced tomatoes. You can dice up, or not tomatoes, carrots. So you can do dice up carrots, but I think what's even an easier option is just to do the shredded carrots. So we're going to be measuring out a cup of shredded carrots. We have a cup of frozen cut green beans. You also can do fresh if you want, but we're just going to do the frozen because it's already cut and ready to go. Then you're going to do 2 cups of frozen chopped kale, which also helps to provide a little bit more fiber and a lot of great vitamins and minerals with that. We're going to do a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. If you are concerned about sodium, you can even get, which I have the no salt added canned crushed tomatoes. So this recipe did not include the no salt added crushed tomatoes, but I'm going to put in here, which probably reduces the sodium even more. We also have the beans that going to put in are cannellini beans, which are already drained and rinsed, which takes off some more of that sodium, but you can even get like no salt added varieties of any type of white bean or even a pink bean. And then we're going to be putting on some finely grated Parmesan cheese, which I have the taste of inspiration, shredded Parmesan cheese, which is super delicious, adds some really nice flavor. And if you want, you can add at the very end some salt and pepper, but you don't necessarily have to either. All right, so let me stop sharing my screen and we will get started. And I will turn on, actually, let me stop sharing this. All right. All right, so you can see here, so I already have my ditalini pasta right in here. So let me just show you again. So this is what I'm using. So I did 3/4 of a cup. So I put this whole container of reduced sodium chicken broth. You can use vegetable broth if you would like, but this is 32 ounce, so a quart. So we're putting a whole one of these in there, and I also added 3 cups of water. Then 3/4 cups of this ditalini pasta. Boiled it for about 7 minutes, but the recipe says 6 to 8 minutes. So that's already done. So all we're going to do is just add in some other ingredients. So the first thing I'm going to add in, no, let me just go get my measuring cup for some reason. Put it over there. Okay. So we're going to do 1 cup. So I just have cut and peeled matchstick carrots. Of course, you can buy like the whole carrots and just kind of dice them up if you want. I just like this just makes it a little bit easier. So we're going to do the matchstick carrots. We're going to do a cup. It's 1 cup in here. Okay. All right. So you have 1 cup of carrots. We're going to do 1 cup of our frozen cut green beans, as you can see right here. So again, you can buy fresh green beans if you want. You can use canned green beans, but I'm just going to use frozen green beans today. So we're going to do 1 cup. Let me turn this up a little bit. All right, so we're also going to put in 2 cups of chopped kale. So the kale, or this frozen kale, always I think is a nice addition to any kind of stir fry or soup. This is already chopped. So I'll do 1 and then 2. Oops. All right. And then we're also going to add in our cannellini beans. So these are already drained and rinsed. We're going to do 1 can, so 15.5 ounce can. I'm going to go put that in. And then the crushed, crushed tomatoes, no salt added. We're going to put a 28-ounce one in. All right, let me make sure I just have all my ingredients. So carrots, green beans, kale, crushed tomato, and beans. All right, so I'm going to turn this up. And so once you have all your ingredients in, and actually one other thing I'm going to do, just add just a little bit of salt. Again, you don't have to if you don't want to, and then some pepper. All right, so just go ahead and mix up these ingredients. And so what you want to do is you want to kind of bring this to a boil and then kind of bring it down so it cooks for about 10 minutes. Just so everything is kind of cooked together and then everything is warmed up. And then you pretty much have your bean and veggie minestrone. So what I did before class, I already made a batch because this will take about 10 minutes. So you can see right here, this is my finished bean and veggie minestrone. So super delicious. And so all you have to do is put on your shredded Parmesan cheese. So this is the Taste of Inspirations, shredded Parmesan cheese. You can even do the Parmesan cheese that's kind of in the, the other container. It's not as, it's kind of like the powder Parmesan cheese. Let me open this. All right. So I'm going to do is just put on some of this shredded Parmesan cheese right on top. So delicious and so nice for a day like today because it's so cold out. So this is our bean and veggie minestrone. So a wonderful way to use green beans. And again, you can use the can, the fresh, or and of course frozen. And so that is our soup recipe on how to use green beans. All right, so I'm going to stop recording. So thank you. Take care.